It's been quite a concern for me for some time now, watching the growing information fascination phenomenon metastasize. It's become contagious and extremely toxic for those who should have transcended this energetic level some time ago. If we are aware of the fact that we are co-creators of our reality, why are we fixated on this dark, false imposed one and its projection instead of what we know to be true and pure and empowering? Sure, we need to be aware of what's going on around us and see through this fog, but once we do, then what? Why do we dwell on these dark temporal and clearly manipulative realities? Once we know they're negatively charged and spiritually poisonous and clearly coming from the wrong source, why do we keep drinking at their well? Is the next purely logical step so hard to take? To break free of it and assert what we know to be the true alternative world? Or is something even more close to home afoot having to do with our own personal issues? Enter the egoic self-preservation loop. For some reason we wrap our identity around what we participate in. Even though we have clearly found out that we each are the captain of our own sovereign ship, we still keep running around their decks and want to know every intricate detail of how their damned matrix tanker operates. Where's the cut-off point? When is enough enough? Never, but only if we're operating in their system. That's what it's designed to be, a vortex. Entertain it and you become it. New and fanciful ways, but part of it we are when we do this, when we're caught in the fascination loop, for whatever personal or outside stimulated reason. This is where other forces are in full play, so our seeming reasons for being there are even convoluted within their false paradigm. At every level, we are not strong enough to operate in their field. It requires a dumbed-down vibrational change to be on their level, and at that level we are destined to lose even if we appear to be so-called winning. It's a trap. News fever in the grip of the info grid. I worked in actual newsrooms. It's frantic, and own-upmanship is the skill of choice, even if only with yourself to excel at what you do, but it's addictive. Stress is a known killer, but it's the operation system and the survival of the fittest world out there. Staying on top of what's going on becomes a 24/7 addiction, and it sucks, literally sucking the very life out of you. But ironically you feel very connected, and on top of what's going on in the world. Your personal life might go to hell, but you feel essential to the process, and thereby very connected and self-affirmed. It's a drug. A vibrational source of fascinating deception. The internet has made amazing things available like no other time in known history. There's no doubt about that. But how are we handling it? Websites are awash in up to the minute breaking news, each trying to keep up with the latest, even with the best of motives. Just because it may be alternative doesn't change this dynamic. We're feeding off it, and feeding into it. Where's the break-off point? Shouldn't we as conscious warriors recognize when we're being played, drained and tripped off? It appears the outstream current is predominantly well into this mode. It doesn't mean the reasons are all wrong and everything's a psyop or wannabe cash machine. It just means we need to find our own cut-off point and listen to the prompts telling us when we're caught in something, as well as have the personal discipline to turn it off. So much is at play, but yesterday's truth can become today's bullshit with just a spiritual nuance, a wrong source, or twisted application. That or just the overwhelming quantity of fundamentally negative crap can sink our once sailing ships if we're not careful. Choose your battles, don't let them choose you. Reactive living is a bitch. If we just react to everything that crosses our path or our screen, we are not living very responsibly nor consciously. Time for meditation, being in nature, relaxing with friends, and doing personal energy work are imperative. More now than ever. taking the initiative on life instead of letting circumstances or the onslaught of information direct us is so empowering, howbeit challenging and somewhat disconcerting. Seeing new things means being confronted with new responsibilities. How much am I taking on board for real? How much will I let these new understandings of whatever sort affect the course of my life? There's always a lot of letting go involved in real change. Old habits, viewpoints, understandings, attachments, social contracts, and on they go. All I know is when our authentic self is knocking on the inside of the door of our hearts, we better answer and let it out, come what may. Therein lies the key to the true breakaway civilization being born within and without us. We are the true breakaway civilization. It's ironic how the intruders of our planet think they're creating a technological breakaway civilization, capable of not only fully controlling our world but actually believing they can now invade and colonize other planets in their pathetic state. Psychopathy doesn't begin to address the level of deviance of such a mindset. Yet it exists in our midst. As completely out of touch with creative source these people, beings or hyperdimensional sources are, they are very active and even walk among us in many forms, and exert empathy to void power with abandon. The question immediately arises why? Why do they exist in a universe that clearly carries love, community and togetherness as the essential part of its most basic fabric? Again, it's not a time to be unconsciously reactive. All is good and essentially right at a very profound level. Yet the paradox rides on. We are still in situations where we need to respond but consciously. Not only is this the great school of learning, but a great contest. But awareness of the overall must predominate. All is here for a very deep purpose, despite the hand-to-hand combat. Again, a paradox of very great and profound dimensions. But here we are, waking up to the grand design yet being called up to respond consciously and participate in meaningful ways. Break away. While vibrations rise and the Great Awakening continues to erupt, the onus is still on us. How do we respond and at what level? Will we feed the lower level testing energies by fighting back on their level, or will we rise to new heights of awakened activism? Not so easy to discern, but once we do and literally break away from the parasitic mindsets and lower level understandings of our current situation, things begin to make incredibly clear sense. We are breaking away. As we affirm what's right and true and live according to our convictions, we feel a tremendous difference in our reality. We are separating from the host and parasite, the doomed cycle of entrapped slumbered down civilization. Breaking away into a new realm of co-creativity and sense of tremendous empowerment. It may appear vague at first, but it's happening. On a massively broad scale as awakening souls feel the pull, but much more profoundly manifested by the vanguard of truly realized souls coming to life, activating and taking the necessary steps towards freedom. Lead on, lead on. The movement works itself into the vein of transition. It's not leadership nor followership, it's co-creation, where our only time is in the now. Manifest. But do it. All the way.